The last thing we're going to talk about, and I know this is long today because when you talk about the role of a black man, there's so much going on, and I'm shortcutting it. I'm putting it in compact version, but is remember there's so much more to this than we can put out in such a short audio. But let's talk about what's really going on now. We're going to go into trauma, um, and trauma is on a whole nother level because it it's like you start with the black man being a young born child in our community, and then you look at all the different things that happen to different black men. So you have, we'll just take a few. You have the married two parent home, you have the single father home, you have the single mother home, you have the bisexual woman home, yes you do, and you have the gay male home, yes you do. If I said that incorrectly to anybody, I apologize. I'm not well versed in sensitivities, so I'm apologizing right now. It's not meant to offend anybody. I'm just homosexual male. I'm not sure what term you use for either one of those, but at the end of the day, I'm just trying to get to the point of you have different structures of households that don't always coincide with each other. So when you have these different homes, and let me add one more, you also have different cultures. So you have multiple cultures who have these homes as well. And culturally, we're different as families as well. So since we're going to stay with the role of a black man, I just wanted to mention that we're going to stay with the role of a black man in our community, and we're going to talk about his trauma and his families and how this trauma is affecting him taking on his role. So let's look at, you got two parents, you look at that child and say, this child has a great chance to make it. The two parents are constantly arguing and fighting and doing things they shouldn't do. This child grows up and has a terrible time conforming to authority and different things in the world. It was just an assumption by everybody that this child was going to do better because of the structure of the house. But in actuality, it depends on the seasoning inside the houses. And that's what I want to talk to you about right now. So I'm skipping to, when you look at those different structures, they're part of the problem, but our major problem is how we season our children and what we season them with. What are we showing them and what are we allowing them to see and hear? And that is where these young black men get their trauma from before they become men. It starts way back when the parents were supposed to be seasoning one thing and teaching the kid one thing, and instead they were giving them spicy seasonings, freedom. We want you to know everything and anything, no restrictions, no real rule of law. And then you have some households that have restrictions. So when these kids come out and they clash together, trauma happens at a very early age. They either see fights, gunshots, hear about it, see it in a movie, traumatic experience for a child as well. And then you say, well, now he's a man. Well, now he's a man, but now he only knows certain things and hasn't gotten any mental health whatsoever for any of the traumatic experiences that have happened in those eclectic families and the confusion that this man is having, right? And there's nobody speaking on the fact that because of the traumatic experiences that the black man was going through, he needs help. So you look at him not having money, not having a job, not knowing how to get money or a job, having the ability to have dropped out of school, there wasn't enough structure, there wasn't enough beatings, whatever you want to say, the ability to be on the street, fending for himself like he's in the forest, and then having to steal, rob, kill, whatever you got to do to eat. Trauma. Trauma is a big deal when we talk about the role of a black man in our community. If you were going to help the black man in our community get through and become and be a better example and take on his role, you first have to deal with the trauma. Now, I'll put it on last, but it's the first thing you're going to have to deal with. You have to sit people down, have some conversations. I think the church and any religious group, because we got to do so many people. The issue is that people need to sit down and find out what happened to people, and the world needs to start to heal the black man by starting to give him the ability to see the people medically they need to see, to get healed the way they need to get healed, to pray to God like they need to pray to God, to work out some of these issues that they may have had, to work out whether they've been destroyed as a young child or not. And then in that process, and all the things we talked about, they need to go on at the same time. In this process of teaching and helping the black man through his trauma, this is how we get to a point where the black man can actually take on his role as a black man. But to talk about the role of a black man is easy. To find a black man in the role is the most difficult thing that we have going on today. It is very important that we start to take this conversation to the next level and make it an everyday conversation. Make it so that young black men understand we hear you, we understand you, we know what's going on with you. We need to start reaching out to you. We need more and more conversations about the truth and the anguish and the pain. We cannot stop a monster without knowing why the monster is attacking. What is wrong? What is going on? If you want to stop this monster, this machine of killing and doing crazy stuff at a young age, we're going to have to start talking to the monster and find out why are you raging in our communities. But you can't stop there. The hard part begins when the monster tells you what the monster needs. The question is, are we strong enough as a community to support black men in a completely different fashion and help them to grow and change and become better at everything they do? Are we ready to forgive our black men? Are we ready to forgive our black boys for whatever they have done so that we can wrap them in love and help them to grow into the people they need to be so that we can change the things that we talked about today in our community? Are we ready? Because it will not happen with just saying, this is what you have to do as a black man. It's going to happen when we come to the understanding that this is what we have to do as a community for the black man. All things are possible. All we need to do is believe, put some effort and work in, and wrap it in love, and everything can be accomplished. Now, I'd like to thank Upgrade for allowing me to have this conversation with you today. I hope that it helps to change the thinking that some people have about the black man's role and about what their role is in helping the black man get to where he needs to be so that he can be a valuable asset to our community. Let's not charge him with anything or say that he's done so much this and that. Let's find out, how do we get to where we're trying to go? And let's focus on that path and on that support. I thank you, Upgrade. I appreciate you for all that you do. And I thank you for listening to The Role of a Black Man. Have a wonderful, blessed day.